All right, everybody, let's do this. Hi, my name is RichardLesperance, and I go by the name of my man Richard. Welcome to a better lifestyle. Today, I have Mustafa Ammar with me. So he has an interesting story. So I think you guys are gonna like this episode. So Mustafa, tell a little bit about your story because it's pretty interesting from the different careers that you had. So talk to us about that.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you for being with you on the show. So in reincarnation vocabulary, I lived a few career lives in the past. I started my first career as a pharmacist, and that was because I had passion at that time for chemistry. At the moment I graduated, I thought pharmacy wasn't for me, so I wouldn't stay there for long, and I decided to find another passion. And that was diplomacy. So after 3 years and a half of working and studying, preparing myself to be a diplomat, I became a diplomat back in Egypt. It's a national competition where every year or every couple of years, 2,000 contestants, and at the end you take 20 or 30. So as a diplomat, I work in Africa and Malawi, I work in the UN in New York, and also I work in China. Somehow in China, I reached the peak of my career after 10, 11 years of diplomacy. And I thought, I think I might need to reinvent myself again, seeing yourself in a plateau and not seeing, more high levels of growth. I moved to investment banking. So I work in a multinational investment bank, very similar to the World Bank, invest heavily in infrastructure across the whole globe. It's headquartered in China. So I was in charge of business development across Asia, Africa, and Latin America. And that was another good opportunity for me to grow again and get that curve up again. After 4 years of working investment banking and also doing my MBA, which I did in Manchester University in the UK, somehow I saw that there are other possibilities as well, because I thought I'm doing my MBA to grow more in my banking career. But what happened is doing an MBA is like knocking different doors. And that opened the door to decide to have my own coaching company, to help other people who are stuck in their careers to reinvent themselves. I have my recent book, Time to Move On, was out last year. This year also, The Passion Project is coming, my second book. And right now I'm embarking on my fifth life, if I could say. So I am building this platform for nonprofit purposes to help hopefully 1 million orphan kids to dream big about their lives. So I want to first empower them to dream and dream big, and then going an extra mile with them and helping them to achieve those dreams as well.
So, what did you want to be when you grow up? Because sometimes that question, we always hear that question, what did you want to be when you grow up? But as you go through life,
Exactly.
it's not always a straight path. So, talk to us about that.
100%. You're just actually shooting in the middle of the center of my life story. I always remember that story. I was 5, 6 years old, and I had family members around me, my parents, and they all were asking me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I think I mentioned 5 or 6 things. So I say I want to be a football player. I want to be a diplomat. I want to be engineer, a doctor. Their answer struck me because they asked me to conform to one answer, choose one. So for me, it wasn't easy to conform with that. I knew somehow I had to stick to one, but that wasn't me. So even if I had to conform with what they asked me to do, it wasn't really easy for me. So I had all my dreams, from 5, 6 years old until 16. And I saw my life in several of those fields. I was good in soccer in general, and I was playing very well. So I saw my future somewhere there. Somehow I got an injury, so I couldn't proceed. Look back at some other, even I wanted to be an astronaut, but then I thought, wow, that might be a bit difficult when I was 11. Now, maybe look for something else. Engineer came in, then being a doctor came in, being a diplomat came in because I saw a diplomat who really inspired me to be. Somehow, when I was 16, I had to decide, and it was really very difficult to decide. To make it easier for me, I decided to stick to the passion I have at that moment. And the passion I had when I was 16 was chemistry. So I decided, okay, take it easy, go for what you really love to study, and let's see what will happen when you graduate.
Okay. Uh, Sometimes when we were talking, you just talk about dreams. For the most part, sometimes when you say dreams to people, society doesn't really
Yeah,
sometimes doesn't
yeah.
support, or culture. You have a lot of pressure when we hear, or when you throw that word. What's your take on that?
Well, somehow we, as societies, different societies, we were trained and educated to stick to one specialization all our life. Somehow, the last 200 years were like this. For some economic reasons, the economic machines needed people to specialize in one career. It took me a long time to realize that this is not, let's say, the only definition of success. Somehow, and I speak about that in my recent book, Time to Move On. I speak about the 7 career myth that people should bust before finding the dream career. And the first myth of this that I learned the hard way to bust, it was the supreme specialist myth. So the only way to succeed in life, specialize in one specialization, spend all your life there. Somehow, and if we go back a bit in history, every single civilization was characterized by a big number of polymath, if I could say, or generalist people who have been doing different things in life. You can find a scientist who at the same time is a historian, at the same time he's a poem, at the same time he's a politician. So it's part of our human nature. And somehow we were forced to go another direction against that and just specialize. It's fine to specialize if it's good for one person, but it manifests itself in many different ways. For example, the Great Resignation. You have millions of people, along in the U.S., in Canada, in several other countries, are resigning from their jobs post-COVID, just without an alternative. And if we look deep in that and see the result and the reasons, the root causes of that, the main reason is people are lacking passion of what they're doing. Somehow, people were forced to stay at home during COVID. They started reflecting on their life. Somehow, no, this is not what I signed up for. I really need to change. So now there is a need to shake that belief that all of us have to stick to one specialization all our life, and we are coming back to our nature, if I could say.
So one thing about your passion and all that, sometimes, you hear a lot of things about following your passion and all that.
Yes.
But
Yes.
sometimes when you follow your passion, it doesn't bring the money, and you can't support your family and all that. So what do you have to say about that?
Exactly. I'm a strong advocate for following your passion all the time, because your passion is the fuel of your journey. Like, for example, if we imagine we are driving a car together, for example, across the states. So a journey will take us a few days, let's say. I assume we need 3 essential elements in this trip. The first is enough gas for our car. The second, we need a GPS with us. And the third, we need a final destination or an address that we can go to. Without enough gas, we'll stop somewhere in the middle. We'll not be able to go all the way until where we want to reach. The second is a GPS. Without the GPS, you'll get lost dozens or even hundreds of times in the middle. And there's also no benefit of having a GPS without having that final address, right? If we apply this on our life, enough gas means enough passion. If you don't have enough passion, so somehow you will stop in the middle. Somehow you run out of gas. It can manifest itself in many different ways. For example, being burnout. That could be a manifestation of lacking passion. Being not productive as usual. That also can be a thing, can be a sign for you that you are not having the same passion as before. Your GPS is your values. If you don't know your core values, you will get lost in the middle. So you really need to understand your values. And somehow the final destination is an ideal lifestyle, a dream lifestyle, or a dream life that you want to live, whether on personal, on family, on work, imagining all those, let's say, final destination where like I'm in the best, let's say the best way of living my life. And somehow where you want to be is in the middle between all those three essential elements. So as you rightly say, passion sometimes is not enough. And passion itself could be a hobby, could be, an interest that you can just enjoy by reading. But not every passion would be a career or a business that you build your next life on. So you need a blueprint, if I could call it, or a map, where you have your passions around your values, around a final destination where you want to go. Have a bit of, skilled analytics, know where are you strong at, know where are your weaknesses, and bring all of that together. And then that's a great blueprint.
So this is probably going to be, I'm going to ask two questions in one. How does someone find their purpose in life? And do you believe in destiny?
I would start with the second question. 100%, I believe in destiny. I have seen it whether through life experiences or even through books. One of my favorite reading ever is The Alchemist for Paulo Coelho. If you read it, it's a very famous fiction where Paulo Coelho always mentioned the word maktub. It's actually a word in Arabic, which means distant or written. It's already written. I believe that you still can change your destiny if you want, if you will. You own your destiny, but still, we are destined for something big. It's up to us to figure out that big thing or not. Back to your first question. We are created for a big reason, and that would entail having a purpose in life. It's not easy. There are people who could spend all their life trying to find a purpose, but it's really hard. However, if I could advise humbly on how to find a purpose, it's through your passions. Somehow you don't choose your passions choose you. So whatever passion that we were born with or somehow came recently, it's I don't know, it's something that you just fall in love without a reason sometimes, right? So it shows you for a reason, whatever that passion, whether it's for reading, whether it's for traveling, whether it's, whatever that passion is. So it's up to us to follow that passion and figure out that life purpose after that. Actually, I have like something I talk about a lot is your passions are the seeds that God implants in your heart to figure out your life purpose. So somehow, if you take care of that passion and helps it to grow, it might lead you to a life purpose.
I've watched some biographies, like people like entrepreneurs or artists, people like comedians and all that, who wanted to win. And sometimes like the journey sometimes is it's unbelievable. You have to be prepared mentally sometimes, because it's, sometimes they go through some rough times. A lot of people are afraid of that, so sometimes they have to take a leap of faith and risk. So what's your say on that?
100%. It's you are going on an adventure or on a journey of twist. So you really don't know what you're gonna meet or what you're gonna see. Again, back to the orientation and what I talk about in terms of passion blueprint. You need to have a proper orientation phase before you decide are going to change, are going to move on to a new life, a new career, a new business. Why is that? Because you rightly said there are a lot of hardships you're going to face along the way. So along and you're sure that this is the right thing for you, you are destined for this. it's really super hard. And I just give an example. Uh, when I was a pharmacist and I was trying to be a diplomat, I spent a bit of time on having that proper orientation. Even at that time, it was unintentional. It wasn't really very well structured, but I tried to understand what I really want. So I spent a bit of time on reflection, on meditation, on trying to get to know why I want to do this, because I really want to commit the next years of my life to dedicate to that dream, and it wasn't really easy. I had to invest in myself. I had to spend all my savings in investing in and building those skills to be a diplomat. I also had to face a lot of if I would say opposition from people around me. Most of the people around me were saying that this is ridiculous, that something like you're silly, you're stupid, you're wasting your time, you cannot do this, you cannot be a diplomat. So I had to be sure that, first of all, hopefully I'm destined for this, and then I have to do my best. And this is the power of the orientation phase. The more you spend in that orientation phase, knowing that why you want to do this, the more you're able to connect that to a life purpose. And in that case, my life purpose was, I want to represent my culture, my country in the best possible way, and I think I can. That was the fuel of the journey. It was super hard. It wasn't easy. But then every single day I come back to that point and I say, I want to do this to how to say, fulfill a destiny, if I could say.
So when you take that journey, when things are not going the way you want, and you face a lot of hardship,
Yes,
and doubt comes into your mind, you start saying to yourself, am I making the right choice, or am
exactly.
I not making the right choice? What do you do at the moment? What do you think?
That's a great question, because it happens. We are destined to have that. So myself, I had a lot of doubts, and I used every single day while I was preparing myself, studying or so, to be a diplomat. I was repeating what people were saying to me. I was speaking to myself and I say, do you think they're going to take 20 or 30 out of 2000? Do you think they're going to take you pharmacists and leave all those people who are much capable than you? The answer wasn't easy, but again, if you spend a bit of time on understanding yourself and orientation, as we said, you start receiving some miracle to show you the way. I would say omens or signs. You start receiving those messages around you to show you that this is the right track for you. And this applies to everybody. Everybody who would spend a bit of time on understanding himself or herself and want to pursue a life purpose, follow a passion, will definitely receive those signs along the way to tell him or her that, okay, this is the right path, continue. I receive many of them. And again, the repetition of the same message is a sign in itself. So when you get the message once, it's not enough. When you get it twice, 3, 4, 5 times in different ways, this is a confirmation. And if you add this to everything else you are trying to do, that really confirms that, yeah, you really have to go through that hardship to get to where you want. To answer your question in a very practical way, while I was trying to be a diplomat, I failed in my first trial. And the first trial was after 1 year and a half. And that was a bit of, okay, waste of time. People around me were coming back even harsher to say, hey, we told you, right? Come on, you're wasting your time. Some people would mock me, whatever. Wasn't easy. I had to spend a bit of time again on recalibrating what I want, whether I'm really wasting my time or not. It took me, I think, a month or a bit longer. And I felt like I still feel that I can have my chance and I can get it. And that opened up more doors for me.
What inspires you when you're down and discouraged?
I will speak in general. Religions are a major source of wisdom in that, because it's about belief and having faith in God, in the universe, in its justice, having faith in yourself as well. So I try to be very practical in this. I try to tick all the, like, how I can reach my goal, even not only practically, also spiritually. Like, should I do more meditation? Should I do affirmation? Should I set clear goals? Um, should I find the right time to do my prayers and my meditation? So I was always trying to tick all those, boxes to make sure, okay, I did all of those dozens of times or even hundreds of times. So it has to happen. And that was a bit of confirmation for myself, because you get to talk to people and then people come to you and say, hey, but if it doesn't happen, it's okay. It's okay. For me, it was kind of like, it has to happen. It has to happen because God sees you, how you are really doing your best to achieve that, and it's for a good purpose. Then it has to happen somehow.
Talk to us a little bit about your book.
So my recent book is Time to Move On, and I speak about the 7 career myths that people should bust before finding their dream career. And those myths are somehow, I used to believe in them, all of them, but somehow one by one I started debunking along my career transformation. I spoke about the first, the supreme specialist. Another one would be, it's too late to change. And I have seen that a lot. People believe that they want to change, but they say, oh, I am in my 40s, my 50s, my 60s. It's too late to change. So I'm actually disproving this myth, and I'm showing, whether through data, whether through research or stories, that people are able to change in any time in their life. That's another myth, for example. Another one, and I received that advice, I think, a lot of time, even from former bosses. Work on your strength, not on your weakness. And all the time, you're good at this. You have to work on this. Don't ever change. And they didn't know at that time, for example, when I was in my banking career, that strength was a weakness actually in the previous career. And what happened, because I had a lot of passion for that particular interest, I could turn a weakness into strength in a very, very short time. So I'm also disproving that, and I say it doesn't matter whether you'll work on weakness or strength. You have to be passionate about. And then several other myths that people should start busting to figure out that they have to move on in their life.
MBA passion. What is it all about?
Exactly. That's my coaching business, the Passion MBA. And somehow the name, because I was graduated from my MBA, and the majority of MBA graduates, after studying different, it's a bit of upskilling, learning skills to grow and reskilling. And somehow at the end of the program, almost everyone would say, what's next? Okay, I enjoyed so much 2 to 3, 4 years. I grow a lot, but I don't know what to do next. And myself, I asked that question. I was in banking, and I asked myself that question a lot. What's next? It's not only a question for MBA graduates or MBA students. It's also a question that almost everyone in their mid-level career are asking themselves, what's next? And I wanted to find an answer for that. And this is how I came up with my coaching business, the Passion MBA.
Where can people find you on social media and the internet, and also the book?
Sure. My websites, both thepassionmba.com and mustafaammar.com. I'm also available on social media, the Passion MBA on Instagram. I'm very active on it. Also, my book is available in indie bookstores, available in Amazon. Time to Move On.
Last words in regards to everything we talked about.
Thanks, Richard. I think two final thoughts I have, and I always like to repeat them. Anyone who want to change, want to develop, want to grow more in his or her life, you don't have anything to lose. And the second, you don't have anything to prove to anybody. The first one, you don't have anything to lose. If you have a passion for something, try, and you will be surprised by the nice surprises you will get at the end of the road. The second, you don't have to prove anything to anybody. People's mind and opinions don't really matter as long as you see there is a dream for you want to achieve.
All right. Thanks, Mustafa. It was nice meeting you and talking to you. I hope everybody found some value in that episode. I know I did, so I was looking forward to that interview. On that note, thank you everybody for taking the time to listen to the podcast. Welcome to A Better Lifestyle. My name is RichardLesperance, and I go by the name of my man Richard. And I was with Mustafa Ammar, and we'll see you on the next episode, everybody. Goodbye. Thanks, Mustafa.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
No problem.